the ESPYs happened last night. A&M was represented quite well. The Aggie volleyball team was nominated, and I saw them on the social media version of the universe. That was really, really awesome. Aggie volleyball will be reporting soon, and a new season is about to begin. I will just say their national championship run is one of those greatest stories ever. Their national championship is one of those greatest feel-good moments ever. Louis Bellina is not Mr. Volleyball. He has never faked it. I've loved watching the sport, and I think I've explained that I randomly catch volleyball games even when they're not winning national championships. It's a sport that is extremely watchable. And the team last year, beating like every number one seed, and then when they got to the Final Four, dominating. I mean, undisputable, no fluke. But everything since then, their social media game has been undefeated. The way they've parlayed it and used it, it's been incredible to watch. I'll just say that as a fan of Aggie athletics. I think they've been fantastic. I hope the momentum translates into this year. And I hope you see it in the crowds. I hope they've seen it pay off in their NIL, because I know they picked up some incredible transfers, including the number one player in the country. It would be interesting to see if the one Natty run equaled the start of something and not just a moment in time for Aggie volleyball. Pretty cool. We'll see. But yeah, they were out at the ESPYs. Saw them. Socials. Myles Garrett cleaned up at the ESPYs. He got best record-breaking performance, and that's for the NFL single-season sack record of 23. And he got best NFL player, and he was the defensive player of the year, and he set the NFL single-season sack record of 23. So a lot of Myles Garrett at the ESPYs. So you had great maroon and white representation. And if you follow me on Twitter, X, which Louis B1150, LOUIEB 1150, and the Zone Facebook page, which is just Zone 1150 on Facebook, I shared some of it. There's a photo of Myles with Aggie volleyball, and then these awards that were won, shared, I think both on my Twitter, Louis B1150, and the Zone Facebook page. We try and share when I see some of these maroon and white headlines that I talk about and news updates, guest alerts, things like that. We attempt to communicate via, my Twitter, LOUIEB 1150. Like every morning between 10 and 10:30, I share the guest lineup and contest and what's going on with the show for the day on my Twitter, LOUIEB 1150, Louis B 1150. And on the Zone Facebook page, same thing. We share the guest lineup, my show, Texags, when our podcast up. I say attempt because sometimes we miss something, and then you get the people that live life so happy and tell you that you suck and you guys are awful at what you do. So I use the phrase attempt. That way, if we miss something, you get it, right? I want to stay in the maroon and white notebook world. And this was just simple, basic off-season fun. The Athletic took a look at the SEC and decided to go, hey, are you a football school or what are you? How simple can that be? Now, personally, my first reaction was, if you're in the SEC and you're not a football school, are you in a world of hurt? Because if you're not all in on football, you're not even close because you can't dabble. You cannot dabble in football in the SEC or you're light years away. You're not competitive. You have no chance because the schools that are all in have $40, $45 million rosters. They have facilities that I think a couple of NFL teams look at and go, that's pretty fly. So you understand, like, there's no question. You look at A&M and they said stamp football school. They look at Texas, they stamp football school. I guess the greater memo, what schools did not get the stamp as a football school? Arkansas, men's basketball school. And it shows. Like, you won't argue with any of these. Kentucky, they're a men's basketball school. Vanderbilt, they said basketball school. And to be fair, I don't know. And with Mitch Light there, they should have ran it by him because Mitch Light would have corrected that. They're a baseball school. Vanderbilt is not a men's basketball school. Ooh, they had one good year. And they've had more than one. They've had a couple, but that's their baseball school. Mississippi State, best baseball school. Missouri is men's basketball, which is a tragic statement because they're pretty inconsistent and tend to disappoint more than not, even in that sport. Missouri's in the wrong league. Missouri's in the wrong league. South Carolina, and I knew that, is a women's basketball school where they dominate. And they're the number one program in the entire country. And they're not even close in football. So I started, first gut instinct was to say, like every school in the SEC is a football school. And of course, as usual, I'm not even close to right. At least 6 of the 16 are not football schools. And I don't even think that's an argument. Because Arkansas, 1, not a football school. Kentucky, 2, not even a football school. Missouri, 3, not even a football school. South Carolina, 4, not even a football school. Vanderbilt, 5, not even a football school. They all have other sports. And the way they do their money, the way they do their resources kind of indicate that too, the commitment. So at least 5, maybe 6, which is a lot when you stop for a moment. Kind of surprised from your gut instinct reaction to reality of who is football and who is not football. I got to share with you the athletic take on Texas A&M. I mean, stamp football, not an argument. But here's the write-up. It's quite entertaining and fairly accurate. Quote from the Athletic. An elite track and field school with national championships in 5 other sports, none of which distract from football as the Aggies' primary source of passion. Actually, Texas A&M football fans may get as much attention as the actual football team. People can't get enough of that midnight yell practice. I think that's one of the greatest write-ups ever. I really do. That has enough hint of funny and reality, no insult, great observation ever. Elite track and field school, check. Natty's in 5 other sports, check. And none of it distracts from Aggie primary source of passion, which is football, check. No matter what, it never does. And the fact that they point out that the fans may get as much attention as the actual football team, check. There's nobody that comes to a game weekend, game day, that doesn't talk about Kyle Field, the experience on game day, midnight yell as the team of the game. Texas A&M game day, game experience gets as much attention as anything. Man, did you see that A&M defense when they go through here? That's actually a hardcore fact. So anyway, I thought that was a great write-up. And again, everyone else involved, football. But the fact that 5 men out of 11 are not football schools, a little bit surprised. It doesn't mean that they ignore football at their schools. But they're not the all-in $40 million roster, and that makes it hard to compete. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Something that's entertaining that kind of ties into the concept of the 40 mil roster. I was reading, and maybe it was Stuart Mandel, I don't know, but I was reading college football notebook. And the question was, you've got 25 mil in NIL to build a team. Everyone is available. Build a starting 22. You know what the answer was? Quote, sorry to break this to you, but 25 mil probably isn't enough to build a de facto All-American team at this point. And isn't that crazy? Because aren't we supposed to be doing this new agreement they had with the House settlement where an entire athletic department revenue sharing is like 20 mil that goes up by $1 million a year, but yet 25 mil can't build you a starting 22 in college football. And that's true. Not a starting 22. It's insane. The acceleration cost is, we don't know the factual value of players NIL because very few are hardcore reported. Like we no, because it's been reported that Drew Mestmaker, the North Texas quarterback who went undervalued but wanted to go to his coach, he's 3.5 mil. And allegedly the top end's like Sam Levitt's 4.5, 5 mil. But it is kind of insane. And the Texas roster's probably 40 or 40 plus. But yeah, the whole NIL revenue sharing, and that's supposed to feed your whole athletic department, is 20 mil that goes up like $1 million a year. We live in interesting times. We live in interesting times. I got to take our first time out of the day. We'll be right back. We're just getting started. The conversation is just beginning. We're in the maroon and white notebook. This is the Louis Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. Thursday on the Zone.
The Money Machine. The Money Machine. The Money Machine. Back to school. Your next chance to win $5,000 begins July 27th.
It's unbelievable.
At Zone1150.com.
The Louis Bellina Show Thursday inside the Charles Schwab studio and presented by CC Electric. 12 o'clock, Coach G, World Cup. 1 o'clock, Rusty Burson, Aggie historian and author on the D4 Land Services Hotline. We're just kind of maroon and white notebook, everything, anything I see Texas A&M across the entire world of sports. I did say a couple of text messages I wanted to pop into. Scott Henniger, good friend of mine. Scott Henniger, he's my banker. That's not a made-up story. I refused to bank with him for a really long time because I'm like, you're my friend. And, and I suffered horrible banking, but then he talked me into going to Brazos County Bank. And I finally found out what it meant to be with people that give a flip. Awesome, 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 awesome. There's something about being with people that care that's amazing. And Scott Henniger texted and said, happy birthday, Eve Louie. Thank you, my friend. Tomorrow's my birthday. So birthday Eve. True story. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. Should have known he'd know. Did he program it in his phone? Did he actually remember it? I have trouble remembering what I'm having for lunch. Thank you, Scott. Very kind to you. And then we have a text message for G. You're asking about the 2030 USA World Cup roster. And don't we have 4 years till then? I mean, I guess if that's what's on your mind, but don't we still have the World Cup now? And don't we have 4 years to worry about the 2030 roster? It seems like a premature question. That's all. What's the 2030 USA World Cup roster? I don't know. I can never worry about something 4 years from now unless it was a meteor that was going to take out our planet. And then I'd probably find a bunch of Texas drillers and train them to be astronauts. And I would send up a ship with 2 different crews to blow up the comet before it hits the planet. That would be my plan. I don't know. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile One Lube Express inbox. Texas Mobile One Lube Express, owned by Gabriel Garcia. 979-693-1150. Okay. This is for entertainment purposes. It is Aggie football. It is a maroon and white notebook. This is the off-season world. It was next round, and you understand there's no facts in this, but still, I've been staring at this. Estimated NIL value of college football legends. Estimated NIL value of college football legends. So you look at modern college football players. And just by definition of being the highest rated quarterback in the portal, you get paid. It actually kind of doesn't matter how high your skill set is. But if you're the top quarterback, you get paid. End of conversation. That's how this system works. So this is the legends of the game. And who are the legends? Vince Young, Reggie Bush, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning, Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, Deion Sanders, Baker Mayfield, Adrian Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald. So you follow along now. And it says estimated, and there's no formula. There's no right, no wrong. So I guess the question one, and the question that we all wonder, and I guess what you must be thinking is like, where does Johnny Manziel rank on this, NIL value of college football legends? It's according to Next Round. Right, wrong, you hate their work, you love their work. It's for argumentative bar conversation, entertainment purposes only. True. Just all true. I pondered how much Reggie Bush would be worth. And we live at a time where I feel like running backs in general are devalued. Running backs are highly devalued. Reggie Bush is the highest valued running back on the list. And he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on the NIL value of college football legends. But right now, if you're going to say what the highest value is, right? Quarterback is not even close. Everything else is on a different tier. It's quarterback is its own tier. Everyone else looks up at it. And then elite pass rusher, like the value. Elite pass rusher, elite cornerback. So quarterback, rushing the quarterback, intercepting the quarterback. Then it's blocking for the quarterback. Well, no. The values change over there. Someone has to catch for this elite quarterback. So running back, the value of is so declined over the years. Don't get me wrong. You look at college football playoff rosters, they all have a running back, but still. So the estimated NIL value of college football legends. Joe Burrow had one of the greatest seasons ever. And if you actually watched his season, he wasn't a product of the players around him. He was not carried. He was a bad man. 5.5 mil. Nice, but 8th best value. Number one, I'm going to go straight to it because I didn't see this coming. I wouldn't have got it with 20 guesses. Deion Sanders. 9 mil. And it's 9 mil plus. That would be his per year NIL value of a college football. He's number one. Number one by a mile, too. Stunning. Number two was Tim Tebow at 8.5 mil. Tim Tebow at 8.5 mil. Number three is the only one on this list that I remotely kind of blinked my eye and went, I don't know if I agree with this, but Peyton Manning at 8 mil. And I don't know how much of his value is actually kind of giving him credit for the great commercials he does and his NFL work and even his post-NFL work, and is not just focusing solely on his incredible college football career, but 8 mil, third highest NIL value of a college football legend, according to Next Round. Not sure about that one. Only one. The rest, how can you argue? It's just someone telling you what they think. I think it's fun. It's entertainment. But Peyton Manning, the third highest? All right. College football fans unite. I wish we could have a beer at a bar and argue over on this one. But if you had one season college football quarterback to lead you to a natty, would you rather have Tebow, Manning, Manziel, Cam Newton, Vince Young? Serious question. Who would you draft out of that lineup? Tim Tebow, Peyton Manning, Johnny Manziel, Cam Newton, Vince Young. Which one? I don't know if I go to Peyton Manning 1, 2, maybe 3, but he has the second highest NIL valuation. And you could tell me, well, there's 10 different things that qualify conditional to my answer. Well, just fast forward to the end. What is your answer? I don't care about the qualifiers and the conditionals. What is the answer in the end then? Johnny Manziel is fourth. Fourth highest NIL valuation at 7.5 mil. Third highest for a quarterback behind Tebow Manning. Fourth highest period, because again, the shocker was Dion, and 9 mil for him. But Johnny Manziel, 7.5 mil. Here's something that's fascinating. We're talking, I am, and thinking something about NIL. I feel like next round might purely be going like on statisticals and so forth. Johnny Manziel would have made so much more money because of the value of his brand and not just the value of his statistics. There's companies that would have gotten bed with Johnny, because don't think of Johnny starting with the draft on and everything since. No. Think of college football Johnny. And this is the guy that was Scooby on Halloween. His personality, he was Money Manziel. Like, he had a brand that on the college level would have got him endorsements above and beyond just his play on the field. He did things no one had seen before. So his NIL value, I think, would have been higher than anticipated, because he didn't just have numbers. And he was a born winner on the college football field. Off, we're not talking. But he had a value as a brand where I think it would have brought in, we'll say, a couple of mil more maybe than projected, because companies would have loved Money Manziel, the personality. Where some of these others, it was a different time. For some of them, they couldn't even spell social media. It didn't win. So how do I know what their social media presence could have been? With a little training and the right, sports information, media relations department to guide them. So, I mean, I got to be fair about it, right? But yeah, Manziel, I think, would have been worth a little bit more than projected based upon his own presence. But I'm going to ask this question one more time. You're taking one quarterback, lead your team to a natty, one season. Tebow, Manning, Manziel, Newton, Vince Young. Who are you taking? I know Manning's not my 1-2. Valuation at 2. And a lot of people are thinking of Manning NFL. Manning even post NFL. Oh, and if you want proof of his value, look at what he did post NFL, where you make money off the field. And he has just been brilliant. But college, don't know so much. 979-693-1150. Okay. You know how it goes. I'll be right back. And when we do, I'll go over like the top 10, how much money, NIL value of legends, NIL value of legends, just fun stuff, off-season stuff, Louis Bellina Show stuff, presented by CC Electric on a Thursday on The Zone.
Listen to the Houston Astros on The Zone, thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
The Louis Bellina Show, Thursday, last day of the week for you and I. Tomorrow, Tony Catalina, Gig'em 247, takes over. He rides again. I thought he'd be scared off and never come back. Here's the text messages. The question was, if you had to have one quarterback, this all-time legend, take your team 1 year to win a natty, Tebow, Manning, Manziel, Newton, and Young, who would you take? And Jimmy takes Johnny Manziel. Chris in Montgomery, Manziel, Young, Tebow, Burrow, Manning. Burrow wasn't on my list. Give me the all-around athletes first and then the pure passers. He did not answer the question at all. Tony Montoya, Cam Newton 1, Johnny 2. Jared in College Station. Howdy, Lou, I have to go with Manziel. Not because I'm an Aggie, because it didn't matter. The downer distance with him at quarterback always had a chance to win. So some of the early samplings. I am 0.0 stunned that Manziel leads those options. I mean, it is Texas A&M. We are in Aggie land. And do I argue against Manziel? No, he did things I've never seen before. And that's the thing. If it wasn't his first year, nobody in the country wanted to play in him by the end of the year. Once Johnny figured it out, and took him 3 total games to figure it out. And I can make an argument for Johnny versus. You can make an argument for others too, but you can make an argument for Johnny versus any of these others. So, I got no problem with that. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. Here is the top 10 list. Charles Woodson, $5.5 mil. Joe Burrow, $5.5 mil. Lamar Jackson, $6 mil. Reggie Bush, $6.5 mil. Vince Young, $6.5 mil. Cam Newton is $7 mil. And then your top 4, and I mentioned it. Johnny Manziel is 4, $7.5 mil. Peyton Manning, 3 at $8 mil. Tim Tebow, 2, $8.5 mil. Deion Sanders, which didn't see it coming. 20 guesses, I wouldn't have put him. But number 1, NIL value of college football legend, according to Next Round, at $9 mil was Deion Sanders. He is number 1 of the values. Moving on in the maroon and white notebook. The 582 millionth updated transfer portal ranking updated thing. ESPN.com did it this past year. Currently ACC Media Days Day 2 is happening. Next week is SEC Media Days, and I'm pretty sure we're done updating all those kind of things. But the number 1 player now, Cam Coleman, Auburn. Number 2, Sam Leavitt, went to LSU. A lot of these names you know, and as experts are finalizing their top 25 in college football playoff picks, certain players keep moving up or down to fit the narratives. And it makes sense. That's not an accusation. That's not evil. But once you determine the teams you think are going to succeed, then you start looking at the players they have differently. They start moving up, but for other teams, they move down. Even great players have bad years when they're on teams that do bad. Duh, that's brilliant, Lou. So that's what I feel like I'm starting to see. Certain players are getting extra credit because these teams are picked to do great. And other players are moving down a slot or 3 because, going to be a rough year. Which is why, if you're a college football fan, you've come to realize that preseason top 25 polls tend to be pretty awful. Like half the poll is wrong. Because they're kind of built on narratives, and they're using last year's analytics and data, which tend to have 0.00 with the year ahead. That's kind of the why. So anyway, number 1, Cam Coleman, Texas. And number 2, Sam Leavitt, LSU. Highest ranked Aggie out of the portals, Isaiah Horton at number 22. Isaiah Horton at number 22. Earlier this week, later last week, I didn't write down the date. Our boy Tony Catalina, he did the 3 most important newcomers for Texas A&M, and they're all portal, none of the incoming freshmen, and you know the names. Not a single revelation on there. Maybe the third one is sometimes, depending on who you talk to, what list you look at, what site, whatever, but Ray Coney, Isaiah Horton, they're going to be 1, 2, some combination on every list you look at. Number 3 is the left tackle, Tyree Adams. And think about it. A&M at left tackle for 3 years now has been a rock that's never been in doubt, in question. Left tackle, cornerstone of any offensive line. That's just a fact of life. And that needs to continue to be so. If you can't block that, like blind side of the quarterback, the entire O-line fails. And Tyree Adams will be the left tackle, and Formby's going to be the right tackle. So I like that. I mean, I get the why too. And you have, with Zune, you never thought that for 3 years, left tackle blindside has not been a conversation. And that set up the rest of the O-line from there. And if you have trouble at left tackle, you got a bad O-line. The other four can be great. If left tackle isn't, it's not a great O-line. You get it, right? So yeah, that was Tony Catalina's view. The top three. And it's the most important. That is the phrasing of it. Most important. Not best, not highest graded, most important. And Ray Coney, A&M needs more coverage of the field from linebacker. We need to never hear a coach talk about fit again. We need linebackers that can cover in space and cover in the pass game. And the thing about Coney is, and we can say especially with Sanford down, is that's the Coney thing. He's supposed to be this tackling machine that can be anywhere on the field. Right? And that's exactly what A&M needs. So you get his important. And with Horton, yeah, he fits a need that they had even last year in the wide receiving core. And with the loss of Concepcion, you need someone that steps up that way. So I like that word choice too, important. Don't have to worry about grades, and important is relative to A&M's need to do what? Win 10 or more games next year. So that's the other thing too. When you see the word important, I don't know how you defined it. I don't know what it means to you, but that's what it means to me. Important. Important for what? To make a bowl? Important means 10 or more college football playoff. With Aggie football, that's our entire conversation point, right? There's nothing more important than that. That's what they have to do. We talked about this during the offseason too. Coach Elko has to prove he's not like every other A&M coach. That you have this incredible season. Mind you, no other A&M coach got them to the CFP, so he's already not like every other A&M coach. But you look back, and Sumlin had his 1 year. Jimbo had the 1 year. Fran took him to that Cotton Bowl the 1 year. And then A&M goes back to 8-4 oblivion, right? And that's what Elko has to do, is show that the program shifted. He didn't have 1 year. I don't believe that. I don't think he's that coach, but you got to do it. So, and I've always said, when we talk about Aggie football, and it's been since day one of the first word with Louis Bellina, and of course on the Louis Bellina show, our conversation is always about winning championships. It's never been about how to make a bowl. How do we get 8 wins? So the standard's always been high, which is why, people have said you seem awfully negative and critical. Look at where the standard is. So I like that with Tony, the most important. And yeah, I like that list too. Left tackle. I put the whole line as a whole group, but it does begin at that spot. And it begins with Tyree Adams. There's so many questions entering the season, but let me ask you this question. I've kind of viewed it this way. Are there as many questions this year as there were last year? I think the answer is boring. It's kind of the same, because I remember there were 5 questions entering last season. And I don't know if there's 5 entering this season. But I do feel like that the questions are more critical entering this year. Because when you start with your number 1 as O-line, that's a critical question. That's a complete and utter failure if they fail. Like the whole season can be tanked with that failure. And then your number 2 question is kind of your front 7 on D, which is D-line. And it's a line of scrimmage league. And both line of scrimmages are total question marks. You have more critical questions this year than last year, even if it's not more questions. So it's fascinating on that angle perspective. But I do know that entering this year, you can be more confident in the coaching staff's ability to answer your questions based on the improbability of going 5 for 5 and dealing with the problems from last year. I am, because that's what they did. And it's not possible what they did, but they did. So, yeah. I don't know if they have as many. The ones they have are more critical, but you can be more confident based upon the work they did last year. And they need to win 10 and go back to the CFP this year. 979-693-1150. SEC Media Days are last week. We're getting close to, and here's what I've always explained about Media Days. You're not going to get any revelations. Coach is not going to make you go, oh my God, he said what? But it's the first new data points in 7.5 months. Because you've got nothing new, basically. Oh, no, that's maybe some new, but no, there's been no new data points for 7.5 months. It's been the same thing. The first new of any kind whatsoever is next week. And if you're a college football fan, that alone, I promised myself I wasn't going to cry today, but that alone is exciting. And then the players report, and there's always like 2 to 4 items new. And it feels real that the new season has begun. That's the whole thing, the new. And next week, you don't just have new A&M, but 15 other teams. And okay, screw them. We don't care about the 9 opponents for A&M. New. Even if it's little nuggets, it's something. And for 7.5 months, hasn't been much of anything, has there? We'll be back. We'll wrap up our first hour. This is the Louis Bellina Show presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. CC Electric. It's Thursday. It's The Zone.
Aggie football sounds even better online. Check it out at RadioAggieland.com.
The Louis Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio. Charles Schwab, I believe in local. Everything, anything. And when we're talking about financial advice, financial planning, financial now, financial future, you and your family, I don't know about you. I want someone that cares about me and my family and my now. Well, we got Mark Sim. He's our local. He is the Charles Schwab branch. And he lives, eats, sleeps, goes to the games too, right here in College Station. And you can walk in the office, sit down, look him in the eye, shake a hand, and you're his only concern. What's going on in New York, LA, Chicago, that's not his world. So if you're interested in, not phone trees, call centers, and being on hold for an hour, but again, sitting down with someone who cares about you, your family, and your future, go look up Mark Sim. Go to schwab.com/College Station. Schwab.com/College Station. We're going to wrap up inside the lifestyles portion of the Louis Bellina Show. Back in the day, July 16th, call it this day in history. I like back in the day. Gives it that old school kind of vibe. Did you know that 91 years ago, like 1935, July 16th, Oklahoma City installed the very first parking meters? See, this is the trivia that the next time you go to your favorite pub, brew pub, restaurant, wherever you play trivia, where you can win that $10 certificate. That's what usually first place is at a bar, brew pub, or a restaurant. I miss Oklahoma City, if I could, for a moment. In the Big 12, Oklahoma City was a center hub. It's, I don't want to say everything, but baseball, basketball, championships. Stay there if you're playing OU. Stay there if you're playing Oklahoma State. Oklahoma City was a sneaky, and of course the College World Series, which for me was the thing. College World Series softball. And Oklahoma City was a sneaky, awesome, sneaky, fun town city to stay in. Had a great brew pub. They had that fondue place, and they had Mickey Mantle's, and of course Hideaway Pizza, and they had casinos, and I loved it. It was I'm not telling you it's some exotic destination and book your vacation now. But as a center hub, I really enjoyed it. Always had fun in Oklahoma City. I thought the drive was easy. Others disagree, which is weird, but I always thought the drive was easy too. But OKC, I had a really good time. Knew a couple of locals. And once they showed me a couple other places to check out, kind of expanded everything there. Back in the day on July 16th, 1951, which is 75 years ago, Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger was first published. Now this is huge. Pay attention. In 1966, which was 60 years ago, Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker formed the band Cream. In 1972, July 16th, which is 54 years ago, Smokey Robinson gave his last concert with the Miracles. If we go to the year 1986, 40 years ago, Dollywood Amusement Park opened in Tennessee. Okay. This is a shout out for help from me. I've never been to Dollywood, but I have been to Tennessee many times. I've never met anyone that's been to Dollywood. If anybody can give me if you have been, has anybody been to Dollywood? Because I've never met anyone that's been to Dollywood. So if you've actually been to Dollywood, can you give me a 2-sentence thumbs up or thumbs down? If you've actually, I've never met anyone that's been to Dollywood. On July 16th in 1993, which is 33 years ago, Free Willy was released. Moment of silence. Thank you. And finally, on this day in history, July 16th, 22 years ago, I, Robot was released. That was the Will Smith movie. Changed lives, he did. A text message. We go to the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. Noah, he said, Louie, did you watch the ESPYs last night? I did not, Noah. I did not. I don't think I've watched the ESPYs in 30 years. I watched it every year when it first came out, and then it gravitated so far away from anything resembling sports for my taste buds that I eventually had to peace out on the ESPYs. But I like it when Aggies win, like Myles Garrett and Aggie volleyball was there too. I support that wholeheartedly. I'll be back with Coach G. It's the Louie Bellina Show on the Zone.